And there's a chance that man could be watching this interview.
That's true.
What would you have to say to this man?
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 creepiest cold cases.
The pressure to find someone, anyone, was so intense.
People were streaming through that house. They were in the kitchen, they were in the living room. There were some friends of Patsy's that were helping her wipe up the kitchen.
Ballistics, no match. Prints, no match. Writing, no match.
For this list, we're looking at the most disturbing true crime cases that have yet to be solved. Which of these do you find the scariest? Let us know in the comments below. Number 10, Room 1046. The murder of Artemis Ogletree sounds like an Agatha Christie novel, but instead, it is a baffling true crime case from the mid-30s. On January 2, 1935, Ogletree signed into Kansas City's hotel president under an alias and began acting suspiciously, like keeping curtains drawn and living in the dark. He was also seen writing to and speaking with a man named Don.
I'm checking out. I'm hurt.
2 days later, Ogletree was found in his room stabbed and bound by cord.
You could have the money.
Ogletree insisted that nobody had attacked him before slipping into a coma and dying. Ogletree's mother later received a phone call stating that Ogletree was now living in Cairo with his new wife, but this mystery caller and the person who attacked Ogletree was never identified. Number 9, the Keddie Killings. It's tragic when a quadruple homicide goes unanswered. On the morning of April 12, 1981, teenage Sheila Sharp discovered the bodies of her mother, brother, and brother's friend in their California home.
The day before the homicide, Dana was at my house.
Her sister was also missing, and her remains were found 3 years later, officially making her the fourth victim.
Kind of made the case personal.
Weirdly, her younger brothers and her brother's friend, who was sleeping over at the time, were unharmed. The friend's father, Martin Smart, has long been the primary suspect in the case, but nothing has been officially proven. Unfortunately, the case went cold after Tina's remains were found in 1984. In 2018, DNA recovered from a piece of tape supposedly matched that of an unidentified suspect, but the case remains unsolved.
It's my belief that after the homicide that they were trying to get rid of the evidence. As they passed by the pond, they tossed it in.
Number 8, Lake Bodom. The most infamous cold case in Finnish history involves the deaths of teenagers Mila Björklund, Anja Mäki, and Seppo Boisman, who were all camping at Finland's Lake Bodom. A fourth victim, Nils Gustafsson, survived with various facial fractures. The deceased were attacked through the tent wall, and at 6 a.m. the next morning, a group of bird watchers saw a blond man walking away from the site. Unfortunately, the investigation was horribly bungled by the responding police force, so the two main suspects were never arrested. Gustafsson was later arrested on suspicion of committing the killings, but he was found innocent of all charges and paid nearly 45,000 euros for the anguish. Number 7, Tylenol tampering. In the fall of 1982, Chicago was beset by a horrible rash of deaths. By October of that year, 7 people, including a preteen, had died after taking Tylenol.
You took them all off the shelves, down the basement, and what did you do?
I'm gonna bring it back to the company.
You sealed them.
I tried to get the money back from them.
Once the link was made, tests were carried out on the tablets, and traces of potassium cyanide were found, indicating that they had been tampered with. Investigators determined that the suspect had taken Tylenol from stores, injected the bottles with cyanide, and placed the poisoned bottles back on the shelves.
And if on the second visit the product still is on the shelf, that subjects the shopkeeper to a fine of $500.
A man named James William Lewis blackmailed Johnson & Johnson, asking for $1 million to stop the killings. He was arrested but released, as prosecutors could find no evidence linking him to the crime. The real perpetrator was never caught. Number 6, the Eastall woman. Hiking along Norway's Death Valley, so called for its numerous hiking-related accidents, a family noticed a burning smell and found the charred remains of a woman. Police uncovered various belongings, but all personal information leading to her identity had been rubbed away. An autopsy later revealed that the woman had taken up to 70 sleeping pills and had died from carbon monoxide poisoning. Later investigation revealed that the mystery woman had traveled around France and Norway with multiple fake passports. She was also known to frequently change hotel rooms, wear wigs, and speak multiple languages. The leading theory is that the Eastall woman was a Cold War spy or some sort of military figure. But many questions remain unanswered. Number 5. The Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run. Essentially a 1930s version of Jack the Ripper, the Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run targeted the seedy Cleveland neighborhood the Roaring Third, known pejoratively as Hobo Jungle, killing between 12 and 20 people. The victims' remains were found in the nearby Kingsbury Run area, and most were identified as vagrants or working poor individuals who lived in the local shantytowns. In the most famous instance, the Mad Butcher placed the remains of 2 victims directly outside City Hall as a means to taunt the Untouchables' Elliot Ness, who was then working as Cleveland's public safety director. The leading suspect was Dr. Francis Sweeney, but political obstacles prevented his arrest. He died in a veterans hospital in 1964, and the case went cold without him.
There's no sense of closure, not for the families of the victims and not for the public, because we'll just never know.
Number 4. Hinterkaifeck. One of the scariest cold cases in history, the story of Hinterkaifeck is ripped straight from a horror movie. Andreas Gruber, the owner of a small Bavarian farm, found a random Munich newspaper on his property, and later discovered footprints in the snow leading from the nearby forest to his farm. That night, Gruber heard footsteps in the attic, but found nobody in the house. The bodies of Gruber, his family, and his maid were found in the barn and throughout the house 4 days later. It's believed that the barn victims were lured there one by one and struck by a perpetrator wielding a mattock. They then entered the house and disposed of the rest. Countless suspects were considered, but the case was not solved. Number 3. JonBenet Ramsey. A child beauty queen, Ramsey's body was found by her father in the basement of their Boulder home on Boxing Day 1996.
JonBenet was the nicest girl. Like, she was very poised in all of her things she did.
The parents immediately came under suspicion, both for the killing itself and for hindering the prosecution with their secretive behavior.
JonBenet was asleep when we arrived home. We took her to bed, got Burke to bed, set the alarm, and went to sleep.
Their reputation was further hindered by a ransom note that was found inside the house, which many experts believed was written by Ramsey's mother. Hers were the only fingerprints found on the note, and analysis revealed that the note was written inside the Ramsey home.
What does this tell you in terms of evidence?
First of all, that someone felt comfortable spending the time writing this long note in the house.
The district attorney was of the opinion that an intruder had killed Ramsey, but this has been disputed by Boulder police.
The police did a terrible, terrible job securing that scene. And if you don't secure the scene, you don't get good evidence.
Number 2, the Black Dahlia. Around 10 a.m. on January 15, 1947, the body of 22-year-old waitress Elizabeth Short was found lying in Los Angeles' Leimert Park. The violent nature of Short's death made it a national sensation, and police were left under an extraordinary amount of pressure. A few days after the discovery, an unidentified man began corresponding with the media and sent a letter with Short's birth certificate. The following March, a note was found inside a pile of clothing left on the beach, indicating that the writer was Short's killer and that he had ended his life by wading into the ocean. The desperate and panicked police force ended up with no less than 150 suspects, but nothing stuck, and Short's killing went cold by the spring. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, the Zodiac Killer.
For no reason at all, just a hooded man came up with a pistol drawn on him,
tied him up and then told him he had to kill him.
Perhaps the most infamous cold case in American history, the Zodiac Killer has been confounding authorities since 1968.
Don't move! I want your money and your car keys. Okay.
So shadowy is the perpetrator that next to nothing is known about him or his crimes. All we do know is that he killed at least 5. Everything else, the timeline, the true number of victims, where he operated, and of course his identity, remains unknown.
What's the most common double consonant in the English language?
Consonant?
The double L.
Double L.
And what's the one word that we know that he'll use in here at least once?
Kill.
Perhaps the most tantalizing aspect of the case is the cryptic and taunting letters that Zodiac sent to the media as a means of arrogant boasting.
He's doing this for gratification, and I feel that he should definitely seek aid.
He's one of the rare serial killers to outsmart the law. And despite sketches, eyewitness accounts from survivors, and direct contact with the media, the Zodiac Killer was never caught.
It's okay. This is all gonna be okay.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.